Hey guys, I'm standing here with a Jet funny car driver, and we're going to have a look at this machine and talk to him a little bit and get some details on this awesome machine. So, could you introduce yourself?
Yes, it's Kevin Terrace. I'm from Humboldt, Saskatchewan. We are the builder, driver, and we run the car across North America on 100% biodiesel made from canola oil.
I was understanding that you were actually the first person to run a biofuel jet car, is that correct?
That's correct. We are the first person to run 100% biodiesel in a turbine engine, and the car has gone 254 miles an hour and a quarter mile.
That's just insane. So whenever I see these machines, I get really curious about the controls, what you're doing in the cockpit. If I stick my camera in there, could you just kind of point out a little bit what you are doing in there?
Yeah, I'll do that.
So I'll get the camera in here.
Okay.
So now we're looking at, yeah, so your steering wheel would be going on there. Because you've got this thing puts on quite a show. I mean it's loud, and the flames and the smoke.
Well, first of all, initially you have to start it, and that's the igniter box here. So there's an igniter, and you'll actually turn it on.
Yep.
Then the person that's out front will actually be, which is my wife, Gwen. She actually starts turning it over. I'm watching for what is about 9% of the RPM right here. Once I see 9%, I start to schedule fuel, so I move the lever ahead to here, and it starts running. When it starts, it has to go up to idle RPM, and at 40%, I wave her off, and I've got to make sure that the exhaust temperature stays below 600 degrees. If it doesn't, you can actually burn the back end of the engine out. So you got to be really careful. The starter and the startee are the two people that keep this thing alive. Once it's running, then it cools right down. So you got to really, most turbines, like if you're flying an airplane, the time that the motor is going to give you trouble is going to be during the initial startup.
So
so now we've got it running right at idle RPM.
Yep.
This lever's ahead. This lever here is called the Afterburner Fuel. The Afterburner Fuel is what you see when you see the smoke coming out of the back end. And if I want to make it have fire when the smoke is coming out, I push this button.
What are you doing when? Okay, so you're adding additional fuel, and then
Yeah.
this lights the afterburner.
That's right. That lights the afterburner. So now when I do a combination of lighting the afterburner and taking the fuel off, you get the burner pops. Boom, 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 boom. So that's these two.
Man.
So when you stage the car now, both these levers are all the way ahead. This lever here is now connected to shut these two off. This one is connected to your parachute. Your hand stays on this lever, the other hand on here, and you drive the car the whole way down with one hand. You put the afterburner fuel on when you got the pre-stage light on, stage the car, and push the green button. The green button then makes you leave the starting line, and it's like, whoop ass, let's go.
Yeah, because I just saw you run a 4.5 in the 8th mile. I think you were going like 120, no, what was it, 175 miles an hour?
Yeah, you bet.
That's 660 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
So, oh man. Well, I can tell already that you know, not just anybody is going to get in here and make a successful run like first time out. I mean, you gotta take some time and study what's going on here.
Well, right now there's actually only 6 that I know of drivers in Canada that run jets.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What engine is this from?
This actually is a J60 Pratt Whitney turbine. It was used in a Sabreliner, a twin-engine, 12-seat passenger commercial. It's also used in the Hawkeye and the Buckeye, as well as Lockheed used it in their 12-seat passenger planes. Those are mostly private passenger, and it's also used in the trainers that the Americans used in 1962 to 1982.
What kind of thrust would this thing have? If you hung a big cable on this machine and you put a scale on it and you went like full throttle, how much pull would this thing create?
About 7,500 foot-pounds of thrust.
So that's what we would see on the scale, probably.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
It's just incredible, and to see this thing have over 7,500 horsepower is incredible. Running on a biofuel made from canola oil. You know, most people don't realize that nice calm yellow field you see when you drive by in the summertime that the farmers have out there can produce this kind of power. It's incredible.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought. I mean, oh, tell me about jet fuel. Okay, there's a common misconception. Jet fuel, oh, it's like really highly explosive, but it's really essentially jet fuel is diesel fuel, isn't that correct?
Absolutely. It comes off, it's fracked off at the same level. It's just that it is of a pure level, and so that's the first that comes off is the jet fuel. Then they go down to kerosene, then they go down to diesel fuel.
Right, so jet fuel is really an oily, slow-burning fuel. Like
right, but it's not as oily. It's drier.
Oh, it is drier
than diesel fuel.
Okay,
yeah.
But it's definitely, it's not going to light like gas.
Absolutely not. It's not the same as having gasoline at all.
See, that's the common misconception, like jet fuel. Oh, it's like a big bomb or whatever, you know. But it's really more of a mild fuel. It's just you probably, I'm going to guess, you need that. The oil in there actually to lubricate the turbines, the bearings and stuff?
Well, you need some of that. You can actually, these were actually, when they were derived as turbines, they were actually called gas turbines. They were actually made before the Jet A fuel came to be ran on gasoline.
Oh, yeah?
It says gas turbine right on any of the manuals. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that these things could sometimes run on just gas.
Yeah, straight gas. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How big is your fuel tank? Is that it over there?
That's it there, and that's 30 gallons.
30 gallons. How much will you use in a pass here? Like
about 20. Well, here we're probably only using about 15, but in a quarter mile we'll run 24 gallons through it. It's hard to imagine this.
You got to think. I mean, 7,500 horsepower. You're going to need a lot of fuel to create that kind of power.